Hey now, it's Ruben with Help Find the Others. What is up, guys? As always, I am super duper grateful for everybody that takes part in this community. Whether you're on the Discord server as a lurker or partaking in the conversation every now and then, it's great. You keep this thing going. You motivate me, you motivate, Stan and everybody else on there to create more content and create more positive energy behind all this. And whatever you guys are doing to help the internet matrix, analytics, downloading our podcast on your favorite apps or all of them, thumbs up, subscribe, 5-star rating, comments, whatever. I'm entirely grateful for it. So today I just got done with a Wim Hof breathing, stretching, cold shower session, and felt inspired to talk about it. So I'm going to talk about it. If you're on our Discord, you've probably seen that a lot of us are talking about and doing the Wim Hof technique. For anyone that doesn't know what that is, or if you're clicking on this video just because Wim Hof is in the title, it's a Wim Hof is a Dutch guy that they call the Iceman, and he has all these world records for like running marathons in the cold and sitting in an ice bath for like 2 hours, stuff like that. So he's kind of an Iron Man, but he's all about like, anti-aging and wellness and just vitality and stuff like that. And so the Wim Hof technique is this I guess you could call it a training technique or a wellness or whatever. But what I like about it is it's kind of this, all the wellness stuff we talk about in our podcasts and stuff like that, that help our psychedelic experiences, that increase our mindfulness and our well-being, in the physical and the mental and the spiritual. All those things we talk about, like meditation and yoga and exercise and cold exposure and breath work, it's all rolled into one. And you can get a session in of all of these things in 20 minutes if you want a day, and so it's a very easy thing to be like, okay, I did this. And then anything else you're trying to incorporate for wellness, it makes it easier to do. Because I think the most important thing, and I'll talk about this later. I want to talk about like my technique and why I think Wim Hof is, like my modification of the technique, and why I think it's important to do some sort of thing like this. Is that this breathing exercise seems to just like kind of obliterate, stress hormones and the negative side of being in stress, or being stressed. Which once you get that out of the way makes it easier to do a lot of different things. So anyway, if you're looking for the proper Wim Hof technique, like go look at his videos. Or there's some other videos on YouTube that give a better scientific explanation of what's going on and why it's beneficial. And also, I kind of change up a little things here and there. But, the most important part is the breath work, and that's what I start with. Some people say to stretch first. Some people say to meditate first or whatever. The breathing is the meditation for me. And I stretch afterwards. I feel that the benefit of the breathing is like a better, your muscles are more oxygenated or something, and like you can stretch better. You have more endurance for doing push-ups and sit-ups that I do. So anyway, the breathing is you're breathing in and as deep as you can and just letting go, but not exhaling, and then breathing in again. So you're like just kind of like pumping yourself up. I incorporate visualization with this of I'm just inhaling all of the positive stuff in my life and just holding on to it. Just holding on to it. And I'm just focusing on that, and I feel myself just like filling with like a white light. And I can actually start, I do I'm sorry, right? So I do it the same way I would to meditate. I lay down with a blanket over me, and I have a eye shade on. And so I do that, but it's very like intense breathing. Like it's so much so that I have to close the door because my dog like comes in and like thinks something's wrong, and like starts like kissing my face and stuff, which is not good for the, the focus that you need. But anyway, I mean, you're going like, and you just feel yourself pumping up. Okay. And I actually, because I'm envisioning this white light just filling inside me, even with the eye shade, it starts getting bright. Okay. And you just have to pay attention to your body. I think there's a certain number that Wim Hof recommends of breaths to take. But I just kind of feel like once it's like, the max that this white light can be filled inside me, I just feel pumped up. Then you exhale as much as you can, everything, and then hold that for as long as you can. And I also envision with this that it's all the negative energy and all the darkness, and I'm exhaling it all as much as I can, and I'm holding for as long as I can without it. And I focus on that. I don't focus on specific things because then you'll, with meditation, like you'll just start to, go off, right? So, but I don't sit there and think about the good things either. I think about nothing. I just try to have that moment where you're exhaled, there's no air in your lungs. I try to have that be just nothingness, just Zen, right? And then I just let my body tell me when to breathe again. I don't try to push it. I think, this is all about listening to your body. This is a very physical meditation technique, honestly. And then you breathe in. Now, I think Wim Hof's method says to hold for like 20 seconds or 30 seconds. I breathe in as much as I can and hold it as long as I can and kind of do the same thing. But I start thinking. And then so I'm like, okay, now I just breathed in a mixture of negative and positive. What's left over negative that I didn't blow out before? And I do think of specific things. And I focus on, that fucking, deposit for summer camp. I keep forgetting to send out. I gotta get that. I gotta stop fucking procrastinating on that. And I do think about specific things and hold my breath as long as I can the whole time. And then once I feel that I need to exhale, I like kind of pile up all those negative things and like things I need to stop, and get away from and blow that out. And then that's one round of the breathing. I try to do 2 to 3 rounds. Sometimes I don't have the time because, I don't give myself enough time to do these things. But I try to do 2 rounds at least. And then of the same thing each time. 2 to 3 rounds of doing all that in that order. And then I do as many push-ups as I can and as many like full body crunches where you like lay down flat and then crunch your knees and your elbows together. And I do that as much as I can. And then I do basically yoga, but I don't have a tape on or anything like that. I just do like very full body dynamic stretching as deep as I can. I focus on feeling the pain and the relief and the tension and like kind of incorporating that and envisioning that into a whole like meld of physical and mental, spiritual, emotions and stuff. Which, like you could follow whatever yoga teacher you want, but like every yoga video I've done, I've never been to a class, but still like, all my yoga experience, I've summed that up into like, that's basically what yoga is, like at least for Americans. Like, I think it possibly was a more spiritual thing for like yogis and stuff like that in India, but at least for what we use it for, as a, health and wellness thing, like that's what it's all about, is just like being at one with like the mental, spiritual world and the physical realm and the pain and, permanence and pleasure of stretching, honestly. Like that's what I've gotten from it. I may be wrong. Someone can come argue yoga with me and you'll win because I don't really know that much about it. But anyway, that's what I do after the breathing. Now, the last part is cold immersion, and the recommendation is an ice bath. I haven't done that. I should, because this is the part that I've been messing up and I need to improve on, is the cold immersion. And I do cold showers, and it is very tough. Like, I'll get like my feet in or my hands and be like, and I'll get my hair wet. And that's why my hair is kind of wet right now, because I just got out of a cold shower. But I just really ease myself in and freak myself out. And I start with like lukewarm too. And then I like get cold. Once I'm used to that, then I turn it to cold and I'll like kind of jump. It's the stupidest thing. I need to do an ice bath, because like, think about a cold pool. Like, it's always better to jump in than it is to like wade in from the shallow end, you know? So, but I have been able to increase my time. Like, the first time it was like 10 seconds. I was like, nope, you know, to where the one I took just now is, 3 minutes probably, with the heat. Once I finally turned the heat off. But it took me 10 minutes to get to that point. So that's something, the cold thing, I need to improve. I give myself a little bit of a pass on the cold immersion, though, because I work outside, rain or snow, cold, whatever. So like, I have a lot of cold exposure in my life. Anyway, but there is, there's some science behind doing these breathing techniques and the stretching, and then the cold that Wim Hof talks about in his videos, that, it is something I want to do and take seriously about it. But there's sometimes this week where I've done Wim Hof and not even taken any shower or anything. The breathing and stretching, I think, is important. I'm shooting to do it 2 times a day. I have not yet done that. I'll be honest. But that's what I want to get to a point. I think even if you do this 3 times a week, it's going to be beneficial. Now, so I think it's very beneficial just for health and wellness. I do want to talk about it as, like, man, I was just thinking about this when I was in the shower, that holy crap, this would be, if you had the mindset, or if a guide had the ability to tell you to do this if you're having a bad trip, this would be a very, very good method for stopping a bad trip. Breathing, I think we talked about this way back in Tyson's first podcast episode with us about the singing involved in, like, kind of more traditional mushroom or ayahuasca ceremonies, is actually a tool to help you control your breath and your stress and stuff like that. So doing a very demanding breath work like this while you're freaking out about a bad trip, I think would really kick you right out of it, and probably increase your trip. I have not yet tried to do Wim Hof while tripping, but it's definitely on my list to do next time I trip. I have done it, and my preferred method, which I cannot do twice a day, is in a float tank. If I had a float tank, that's what I would do it in, because the moist, salty air, like, just, it makes your lungs so powerful. I can hold my breath a lot longer in the tank than I can just in my bed, doing it at home. But while doing that, I've been on very high dosage edible cannabis, or just very high, or with a microdose. So I've done Wim Hof with all of those substances, and it's great. And so, like, yeah, I really want to do it, on LSD or like on a larger tripping dose of those drugs. I think Wim Hof, there definitely seems to be some sort of synergy going on right now with the psychedelic community and the Wim Hof community, if there is one. In that even Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop Lab series on Netflix, the first episode is about psychedelic mushroom retreat. The second one is about Wim Hof. So I think they go hand in hand. Like if you use this as a training regimen to take a big trip, like I feel like, you know, if you do a month of daily Wim Hof and then take a heroic dose of a psychedelic, like you're going to be in a better place to do that. You're going to have a better trip. So there's some interesting synergy going on right now with Wim Hof and psychedelics, and he talks about, you know, he says that it releases DMT when you're doing this breathing and stuff. You know, I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, like he recognizes that. He's Dutch. He says that he likes weed, but that this daily technique, he gets high on his own supply, he says, you know. And so, but anyway, because of the synergy there, I'm just feeling this, you know, kind of the universal energies of these two groups meeting, and I don't know, that's why I felt inspired to make this video. I also, you know, I think this is a mind-body training, right? And so I think I was just talking about the mind there. The body, you know, there's some science and some videos talking about Wim Hof, about the oxygenation, and that, you know, this is good for, you know, your body chemistry, to make this a common thing. And so I was thinking about that too, and it kind of makes sense that, like, you know, the breathing is essentially hyperventilation, you know, and what do we attribute hyperventilation with but a reaction to a stress? You know, it's a stress response. And so there's a lot of responses our body has that, because the thing that it's responding to is negative, we often take the response as negative. Like, look at a fever, okay? So we say, oh, he's got a fever, oh no, and you take Tylenol and you take these medicines that you know, hurt your organs to bring them back down to proper temperature, to stop inflammation and all of these things. While you know, the fever is your body's response to the infection, to try to raise the temperature to a more hostile condition for the microorganism that is infecting you to live. You know, and that's why doctors say, like, they don't want you giving anti-inflammatory, anti-fever drugs as much, because you need that response. Well, what if hyperventilation because of stress is actually something we should embrace and control, because that's our body trying to overcome, you know, the damage that stress is doing, and to get rid of stress? Because that's what I feel after doing this breathing, even without the stretching and the cold shower. Just the breathing alone is very, very stress relieving, you know. And so, like, that's maybe our body's natural defense to stress is our breath. And I think our breath is super important, you know. I think that there's a lot of, much like I believe in plant medicine, I believe in our body's natural ability to control our own wellness. Okay, I'm not, you know, there's a difference between being unwell and being diseased, and yes, disease may require some, you know, medical intervention, and usually does. But I think that the cure for being unwell is within all of us, and it is all around us. And so that's kind of how I've embraced Wim Hof, which is maybe a little different than the man himself or other people that are researching this topic. But I was just throwing my hat in the ring there to talk about Wim Hof. And, you know, I hope to just kind of keep building and improving on it and adapting it for myself. I'm not ever one to follow something like to a T. I'm always like, kind of like, you know, if I'm following a cooking recipe, I'm always throwing different ingredients in there or different amounts, and I don't measure stuff. you know, when I play music with people and we're covering a song, I play it kind of my own way and don't, you know, learn the the right way to play the song. And, you know, I'm just kind of that way anyway. So if you're someone that needs to follow like a recipe to a T or whatever, yes, go find his videos himself and or of Wim talking himself about it and follow that to a T. But like I was saying, and you don't have to follow my the way that I'm doing it to a T either. You know, find out what works for you, when it works for you, how often it works for you, you know, and then take it from there, you know, and once you get used to it, then maybe you want to challenge yourself and do it 5 times a day. I don't know, whatever, you know, I think it's all about following your body here, you know, I don't know. Yeah, that's all I got on Wim Hof. Definitely, if you're doing it and want to talk about it, send me an email. We'll do a podcast about Wim Hof or other breath work or whatever. Also, I meant to mention, like, you know, I'm glad I got to come on and make a video, but I'm thinking of switching up the way I do videos. I mean, my focus now with Help Find the Others is not the videos, it's the podcast. I like talking to you guys. I like, you know, hearing your stories, your emotions, your views, and having a long form discussion with it. That matters so much more to me than, you know, doing these videos and putting the screen up, and I got a light back there, and, you know, condenser mic, and setting all that up, and these take me like 3 or 4 takes to get everything right, because, you know, I'll get one done, and then I'll be like, you idiot, you forgot to say this, or, you know, I'll stumble over a word, or I'll lose my train of thought, or whatever. So it takes quite a bit of time to produce a video in this manner. So I was thinking of just doing a more from my cell phone, like while I'm at work in the woods and inspired by something, just like capture it and putting it on YouTube or, you know, Discord or whatever. I'm thinking of doing that and just kind of scrapping the whole production of this. I mean, that's an overstatement to call it production, but still, I think I can produce more video content if that's what everyone's looking for. Because like I said, making videos of like, hey, look at me, here's my thought, like that doesn't really interest me anymore. Like it's moved on for me to being a discussion based kind of thing. Help find the others, you know, like almost like, well, we found the others, let's talk about this shit now or whatever. I don't know. So yeah, leave a comment below or send an email. Let me know what you think about the idea of like having the videos not be indoors like this, or, you know, just tell me like, yeah, man, you know, we don't really need to see your videos anymore or whatever. I don't know. Just give me a comment what you think about that. And yeah, till next time, thanks for helping find the others.